Graham. Thank you very much, Graham, for those words of support and solidarity. Another speaker now, Padraig Malone, the Congress Centres Network. Is Padraig here?
There he is. He's up there. Come down now.
All right. Where is he? After the next speaker, delegates, I'd ask you all to remain in your seats. We're going to do a short piece for about 20 minutes in honour and memory of James Connolly, Scottish and Irish socialist, trade unionist. So it's an interesting piece. It'll be on the screen. There'll also be some interactive role play. So it's very interesting. So just stay in your seats. Don't be moving around after the next speaker, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Padraig.
Chairperson, delegates. Your conference pack says that this speech should be given by Margaret Fitzpatrick. Unfortunately, she's indisposed, and be patently obvious to you that I'm not Margaret Fitzpatrick. Padraig Malone, I'm the coordinator of the Limerick Resource Centre for the Unemployed, which is one of the 26 centres that make up the Congress Centres network. And on behalf of the Congress Centres network, I'd firstly like to say how pleased we are to be given the opportunity to address conference here today and to express the hope that our few words will increase awareness among delegates as to the existence and the work of the network. The Congress Centres came into being in 1985 during another great economic recession and at a time when mass unemployment and all its attendant evils was once again afflicting Irish workers. Drawing on experiences in other countries, for example in the UK and Germany, the Youth Employment Committee of Congress took the initiative in beginning the process of establishing a network of centres for the unemployed. This arose from the realisation that many workers, on becoming unemployed, had deep feelings of being alone, helpless, abandoned, and that it was incumbent on the trade union movement to do something concrete to provide practical assistance for unemployed workers, many of them its own unemployed members. Working in tandem with local trades councils, trade union and community activists, and with the active involvement of FOSS, Congress is able to bring about the steady expansion of the network of centres throughout the late 80s and early 90s. While the numbers of centres in existence have fluctuated over the years, with some falling by the wayside, the 26 that exist today are now well-established features of the economic and social fabric of their local areas. The original purpose of the centres was and remains today the provision of basic practical assistance for unemployed people and the promotion of employment and social inclusion. And indeed, the remit has widened to a whole number of other categories of people who suffer social exclusion and social disadvantage. The most important services provided by the centres are welfare rights information, adult education and training, and job-seeking supports. There are up to 900 people employed in the centres through the Community Employment Programme, the Job Initiative Scheme, and other state employment programmes. And in recent years, the centres have engaged in some 1.4 million client interactions. Collectively, the centres operate a budget of some €6 million in state funding, and in addition, raise a further considerable amounts through the provision of services, other funding sources, and active fundraising. The centres therefore represent a considerable resource to the trade union movement and to the communities that they serve. All this must surely be seen as a clear indication, if such is needed, of the continuing relevance of the network. Over the years, the centre has developed a heightened level of professionalism with the provision of an increasing number and range of accredited education and training courses. Most of the centres have been recognised FETAC providers, and despite some serious difficulties, are striving to be part of the new QQI system that has superseded FETAC. Also, through the Trade Union SkillNet, the network is playing its part in the provision of education and training programmes for trade union members. And in a further diversification of its education and training activities, in recent times the centres have become involved in training through DACT for people with disabilities, the Youth Guarantee for young people, and the upskilling training programme Momentum. One of the first real challenges that face a person on becoming unemployed is attempting to navigate and make sense of the social welfare system and to access the relevant payments. In this respect, the centres have been of inestimable assistance to countless thousands of people over the years through the provision of a free, confidential and empathetic welfare rights information service. This service continues today and is constantly adapting to the ever-changing area of welfare provision, which is not always for the better. The centres also provide practical job-seeking supports, such as the preparation of CVs, assistance with interview skills, information on employment and training opportunities, and access to communication facilities, simple things such as phone, fax, and the internet, but can often be very distant from unemployed people. Crucial to all this work has been the development of a joint collaborative approach with a wide range of state agencies and community organisations. Of critical importance is the relationship that has developed firstly with FÁS and in recent years with the Department of Social Protection through the operation of employment programmes such as Community Employment and Job Initiative. Indeed, in this respect, one of the great selling points of the centre has been the quality of the work experience that they provide, which in turn has led to an outstanding record in terms of progression of their participants into employment and further education and training. None of this is to say that the centres do not face some very serious challenges. As already alluded to, some have not survived the test of time and have had to close for a variety of reasons. Those that remain often find it difficult to carry on in a continually difficult economic and funding environment. For some of them, meeting basic costs such as rent and other vital resources is a constant struggle. And in this respect, it should be realised that the centres are maintained largely through the determined efforts of voluntary boards of management that are predominantly made up of current and retired trade union activists. Indeed, it has been in a bit of research that has been carried out by the Congress official responsible for the centre, Sylvia Ryan, we have found that of 137 board members of centres, 100 of them are either current or retired trade union activists, and that clearly shows how integrated the centres are into the trade union movement. The Congress Centres Network is a valuable resource to the trade union movement. Not only is it a window for the trade unions into the wider community, but it can also be of immense practical assistance to the movement through the provision of training courses and facilities, meeting rooms, contact points, and other such services. The centres are also of assistance through active involvement in campaigns, such as been seen recently in those around the Dunnes Stores workers and the marriage equality referendum. In conclusion, may I say that the centres have proved their worth over the years and deserve to be recognised as an integral and important part of the wider trade union structure as represented by Congress. For 3 decades, and without any great cost or being a major burden, they have provided assistance, support and solidarity to some of the most vulnerable in our society in a manner that brings great credit to this trade union movement. May I finally draw your attention to this magazine, which has been produced by the centres, and I think the actual work of producing the pages and the photographs carried out by the staff of our Letterkenny Centre, obviously with the assistance and support of the other centres. But this magazine will explain and give all the detail that you need, and even more, about the centres, both collectively and each individual centre. I would commend it to you, and you can get it at the centre's stall out in the lobby. And thank you, Mahagut, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Padraig, for that very comprehensive report and every success in the work of the centres into the future.